Yeah. Halo. Halo. YouTube. Halo. TikTok. Halo. Yours truly, Deep Marie in the house. Representing Halo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. UNA. Yeah. Halo. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for joining. I need you to like and share. Like and share. All my people on YouTube, I need y'all to show love. All right. I want you to subscribe and share and like. We got some things I need to tell you about today. We have the UNA Beginner Law Book is in the house. All right, now, before I get on that, today's topic is one of my favorites. It really upsets a lot of people. It's called History and why North America is not Morocco. All right? So, now let me get back on this and then we'll get back into that topic because I know I'm going to upset a whole bunch of people. All right. So, the UNA Beginner Law Book is in, ladies and gentlemen. All right? I want you to go ahead and get your copy. You can find the link in the bio for the UNA Beginner Law Book. Now, you can get the ebook or you can get the physical. This is the physical copy of this. Now, why is this book so powerful? Listen, this has, first of all, these wonderful charts that it comes with. Now, let me start off with the original ones, okay? You got your vibratory frequency chart. This is our vibratory frequency chart. This is very important in understanding how you get your frequencies right, where you need to be. You want to be up here. At some point, we're going to, all this going at the bottom, we're going to ignore this because we don't even operate down here. We're going to operate up here. So it comes with the vibratory frequency chart. It comes with the hierarchy of law chart. All right. It comes with a separate also chart for the UNA, the universal laws, universal laws. In our new charts that we have on here, this is the social or societal totem pole, where it's dealing with mindset and in the public versus the private. Also, we have the civilization cycle, which helps you to understand where we are in this process, because these civilizations, they always go through the same thing. And just to read this off real quick: enlightenment, courage, freedom, abundance, selfishness, complacency, then apathy, dependence, bondage, and then back into enlightenment. So y'all, we here at enlightenment, and we learn how to do in the university is how not to fall back in this circle. It comes with all of these things. Now, why do we include this separately? Because these are also in the book. But why do we include these separately? Because we want you to put these up on your mirror, on your walls, around your house, because we want you to remind or be reminded constantly. Now, once again, this is the book. And what does this book go into? Well, it's dealing with all the laws. The universal laws are in here. The hierarchy of laws are in here. And also the maxims of law. Now, when we talk about the maxims of law, these come straight from the Bible. These are what we use when we want to stand in court, the maxims of law. We have the right to determine what type of laws we're operating under when we go into court. Well, this is what we use, maxims, all right? They stand above all of their laws, all of those lower laws. These are God's laws, okay? It goes into understanding contract law and what contracts are. Once again, there is that vibratory frequency chart in there, but you have a copy that you can put up, so you have to tear the book up, all right? So it goes into a lot of different things. So if you want this book, find the link in the bio. Once again, it comes with all of these wonderful inserts or outserts that you can put up, all right? So I want you to go ahead and get this book. Find the link in the bio, or you can go to UNARepublic.com So we're going into this thing. Once again, the topic for today, history. Why Morocco, why North America is not Morocco. And this needs to be made clear. We're going into some history today so we can understand some of the lies that are being told to us. And there are many lies, and I need y'all to understand that melanated people are not the only people lying to you. Light-skinned people are not the only ones that are lying to you. So-called Albions, those are not the only ones that are lying to you. There's some melanated people who are lying to you as well. And we're going to clear some things up so you can start doing your research. As I always tell you guys before, when you sit down and watch this session, have pen and paper, because I'm going to give you information that you can go and look up for yourself, so that none of this stuff that we're talking about is, Adiva Lurie said it. You don't have to stand on my word. I'm going to tell you exactly where you can go and pull it up. Now, I am on YouTube trying to figure out why I can't get into where I'm trying to go. This is UNA. And in UNA, we deal with all laws. So, as well as history, as well as the spiritual side. Today, what we're getting into is history. And we're dealing with the fact that North America is not Morocco. Okay, so you'll have a lot of people with this Moorish movement. So let's go into this. Now, getting into this about what you're hearing these Moorish camps say, that North America is Morocco. Okay, that's not true. And you won't find that anywhere written on anybody's paper, anywhere, in any kind of documentation, that this is Morocco. All right, because I also have to go into something somebody else said. Okay, so we're going into it. I need to go back to 1492 with Columbus. So y'all get your pen and paper, and let's take notes about what's going on with respect to this whole notion that North America is Morocco. That is not true at all. All right, so let's be clear on this. Going back to Columbus, 1492. So we know that Columbus set sail and supposedly landed on territories really that were near what we call North America. They were near it, not necessarily in it. And so when he landed in these territories, there were people already in the land. They're known today as Indians, and people who call themselves African American. But we're going to go into that at another time. We're going to touch on it tonight. But those so-called Indians back then, a lot of them, they were melanated. And what had happened is, and we're going to get into this part of the story later on, is that those people have lost their identity in so many ways. So there are people who are playing their role in several different ways. And these people who call themselves African American and black and colored and Negro, they was the original people of the land. Okay, so now let's get into this, because one of the things is in 1492, when we're talking about Morocco, there was a Sultan of Morocco, and we know the Moroccan Empire was vast over in the places that we call Africa. And at some point they were in Spain. In 1492, they were ruling Spain until the Sultan of Morocco got his butt kicked in battle by the Queen of Spain. The Queen of Spain, her name was Isabella. All right? And she ran through there and ran him up out of Spain. The Sultan of Morocco was run out of Spain. He ceded his territory to the Queen of Spain. All right? So all of his territories he ceded to the Queen of Spain. So now what happens is you've got Columbus, who was paid or who was funded by Spain to go on this journey. Now, why was he going on this journey in the first place? And I need y'all to take notes because, see, history has been rewritten. And these people that they're, writing about, they're trying to make you think they're light-skinned people. And that's important because people are writing themselves into history where they were not ever. So pay attention to what I'm saying. Isabella was melanated. She wasn't no Albion like they need you to think. As a matter of fact, when we're talking about royalty, all royalty was originally melanated people. All royalty was originally melanated people. And so y'all need to understand, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, those are the two who funded Christopher Columbus's trip. The voyage that he wanted to go on, he had to convince them. He had to say, hey, Queen Isabella, King Ferdinand, I know this place that exists. He had to convince them for them to pay for his trip. So now, when he wants to go on this trip, he's talking to these melanated people who are funding him, who own all of the territories that were ceded to them by the Sultan of Morocco. Now, somebody's going to say, that's a lie. Okay, I'll just tell you what the history says. Now, this thing is saying, history is saying in 1492, the Sultan of Morocco was defeated by the Queen of Spain. And then Columbus comes in and he wants to take this voyage. Now I need y'all to pay attention and understand why Columbus wanted to take this voyage. He wanted to take this voyage because when Queen Isabella came in and she kicked the Sultan of Morocco out of Spain, you know what she said? She said, if you're not a Christian, you're going to leave here or we're going to kill you. That's what she said. Queen Isabella of Spain, after defeating the Sultan of Morocco, made a decree in the land. Either you are going to become a Christian, you're going to convert, or you're going to die here. So, here you got Christopher Columbus. That's where he lived, in Spain. And he felt, I need to find a place for my people so that we're not persecuted because of our religion. Christopher Columbus said, I got to find a place for my people because I got to find a place where we're not persecuted because of our religion. And so this is why he set sail, but he needed money. And the only people who was going to be able to fund his voyage was King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Now think about this now. These are melanated folks that he's dealing with. Now at this time, y'all got to understand, remember, all royalty was originally melanated and Queen Isabella was melanated. And I need y'all to understand this, the same thing goes with England. The Queen of England was melanated up until the mid-1800s. We don't know that. She was amalgamated, but the pictures they try to show you of mid-1800s, we don't know that. She was amalgamated, but the pictures they try to show you of people and made them appear to be something they're not. Why? Because if you knew that all royalty was melanated people, and if you knew that the people who founded the Americas, and we're going to talk about that and what America really means. I told y'all, when y'all sitting down here, pen and paper, be ready to take notes. And I'm telling you, this is a very hot topic. I'm going to upset some people today, but I already told y'all, if y'all like it, y'all can bite these nuts. These nuts are natural, roasted, salty, brown nuts. Y'all can bite these nuts. All right. Find the link in the bio for these nuts. These nuts. Delicious. Now, getting back to it. We've got a situation here where Columbus has gone to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and asked for funding for his voyage that he wanted to take to get to what we know of now as the Americas. Well, what's the big deal about that? You got to understand, at that time, melanated people ruled. Melanated people ruled at that time. Albions were not ruling things. They weren't having land and ownership of funds and territory and all. They didn't have that. So they want you to think that this Christopher Columbus character, and they weren't educated. This is in the Dark Ages. When you talk to these Moors, now they'll tell you who taught the Albion everything they know. And let me make it clear, because y'all go, Albion, what's the Albion? I don't know, never know. Yeah, that's so-called white people. They're not white. And y'all notice I do not call my melanated people black. Black means dead. My people not dead. Y'all not dead. You're going to wake on up, though. Y'all sleep. Some of y'all are asleep. But you're not dead, and I'm not going to call you that. So understand that you've got this Christopher Columbus character who comes up with all of this knowledge. And again, in the Dark Ages, Albions weren't educated on astrology. Do you know how deep and entailed astrology is? It's hard to find somebody to teach you that today with any kind of ability to comprehend it, much less back then. So where did he get this education? This wasn't something that Albions was right. They had their hands right on. It's not. Again, go do your research on what was going on in the Dark Ages and who taught the Albion everything they know. Now, if you're trying to read those history books they got in your public school, forget it. You got to do some deep researching on this. So now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because they want you to think Christopher Columbus was an Albion. But then when you read the books, you find he was selling with a lot of Jews, which were melanated people back then. Y'all see, when I say this, y'all, a lot of us are not clear on this. Have you all remember with the Palestine and how the Jews came in there, and there's this fighting that's still going on to this day, and how the Palestinians were saying, hey, you know what? The Jews left here dark skinned. How come they coming back here light skinned? Pay attention. Pay attention to what I'm telling you, because again, the history has been rewritten. And so what I'm trying to let you know is that the original Jews, they were dark skinned. Everybody's telling you this, but then if you go do your research and you start recognizing, first of all, that melanated people were running everything, that they were the original, you got your royalty. The original royalty was melanated people, but then we're going to come to understand that all melanated people are not the same. Just like all so-called Albions are not the same. They know who they are, and you wonder why you can't build, because you're trying to build with people who are not of you. And listen, this is not to say that you can't build with them, but if you're going to build with somebody, you have to understand their nature. You have to understand their spiritual essence and not be trying to judge somebody by the skin color. That's not how that works. Because some of y'all very well know, as much as this system is trying to make you hate Albions or light-skinned people, when it comes down to it, when you need somebody to back you up, yeah, y'all know it. Y'all been there. Y'all have seen it yourself. You know, it was a light-skinned person that came to your rescue. You know that. But society is trying to make you believe something else. I ain't going into that today. I'm just telling you what the facts are so you can go and look this up for yourself. All right. So now we're understanding that we've got these, Christopher Columbus, who they're trying to make him out to be an Albion or a light-skinned person when he's got knowledge. He's also asking them to fund a trip where he can put together a crew of people and to buy these ships. Now, listen to me. If you have never sailed before, if you don't have knowledge of astrology, and you can't demonstrate to me that you have the ability to do this task that you're about to do, don't come to me asking me for enough money to buy you a great big boat and have you a crew. And I'm not going to give you that money. Why I'm saying that is because he had to have sailed before. He had to have done these kind of missions before. And again, when we're talking about astrology, that's things that Moors knew. Moors, Moors. And I need y'all to understand that Moors, and listen to me because I'm going to upset somebody, but you can bite these nuts right here. Bite them. Find the link in the bio. Moors has nothing to do with skin color. It has everything to do with a job done on a ship. Look up mooring, Mooring, and moored, Moored. These people who were doing this sailing, because they were sailors on boats and ships, they ended up being called Moors. And see, this is how you know. Ask your Moor friends. Go ask them. Well, was this some white Moors, so-called white? Ask them. That's like, oh yeah, that was Moors. Well then, why you telling me the term Moor has to do with skin color? If you telling me it was some white Moors. It doesn't make sense because that's not what Moor means. Moor means somebody who did a job on a ship, the vast majority of which were melanated people. So this term, they started calling the people coming off these ships Moors, but it was not a term of endearment. They didn't mean it in a nice way, like, here come the Moors, like, pirates and land-stealing thieves, Moors. So here we got these Moors, or barbaric. And I know y'all want to feel like, oh, we melanated people. The Moors were good people. They would never. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Go read history and find out what went on. And then you'll hear people using terms like, oh, the dirty Moors. Look, all I know is Moors. All right, you call it dirty, clean, whatever you want to call it. The term Moor had to do with people who did a job on a ship. All right, so now we're understanding this. These people were sailed. They sailed to the Americas, and here's Columbus on this ship. And I'm just saying to you, this is a large responsibility. And he had to have money in order to have sailed in the past. Well, where did he get that from as an Albion? Albions didn't have access to that. So I'm saying to you that this notion. By the way, let me say this to you also. Columbus, the reason why he wanted to leave is because he was either a Jew or a Muslim. Now, I read different texts. Some of the text says he's a Jew. Some of the text says he was a Muslim. But either way, those were two melanated groups of people. Because when you talk about the Muslims, these are people who coming from the Israelite tribe. When you talk about Jews, these people coming from the Israelite tribe. So both of those groups, whichever one, he was one of them. And he was a convert, which is why I told you he wanted to leave Spain and find another land so his people could go to and not be persecuted because of their religious beliefs, which he was either a Jew or Muslim and had to convert. All right. So now we understanding this. This couldn't have been this was highly unlikely to be an Albion or a so-called light-skinned or white person. This wasn't a light-skinned person. This was a Moor, a melanated person. All right. So now, the whole reason why I'm bringing that up is because I need us to establish who was coming in and why he was coming in. Now, as he came in, once he found the land, then all of these other places started getting wind of, oh, there's a new land, there's a new territory. Let's find it. Let's go there. All right. And so we get up to the 1777 when the United States of America was created. Now, I need to go back because I need you to understand. Once Columbus had found this place and that which all there were people already there. Then all of these other countries started wanting a piece of the action. And as they started trying to divide up the territory, I have so many maps, and I'm going to see if I can find this map of the United States territory. And what I want to bring up here is England was one of the first to establish a corporation within America. It was known as the Virginia Company, and this was back in the late 1400s, early 1500s. Look up the Virginia Company. It's the same company that you know of today as the state of Virginia. It's the same company. I'm going to let that marinate on you for a second because I want to pull up this map, 1777. And why I'm pulling up this map is because I want you to see how the territory had been divided by all of these different nations. Why is this important? This is important because if you're telling me that this land was Morocco, I need you to understand that at this time, for somebody to keep saying that North America is Morocco, when we're looking at these maps, and they're showing all the countries, all the other countries that had territory and had claimed rights, France, England, Russia, a couple of other places that had claimed territory. But you don't see no Morocco up in here claiming territory. You don't see Morocco up in here claiming territory because they didn't have any territory at the time. And the other thing about Morocco and why this couldn't have been Morocco's territory, because remember in 1492, the Sultan was defeated and seceded all of his territories to the Queen of Spain. So what is this talking about Morocco owns some territory when the Sultan was defeated? Oh, I'm going to go deeper than that. It don't just stop right there. Because that's why I'm asking. I want to see proof. Show me a map. Show me some kind of documentation where it is said that North America is Morocco. Well, I'm going to show you for every one piece of evidence you think you have. I'm going to give you 3 showing that it can't be real. 3 for every one. I could really give 4 or 5. But, and for y'all people who, what I see with these groups, these people with the More group, what they want to do is they'll put up a whole bunch of BS, but no facts. Now, getting into this, we understand now. Britain comes into the territory and has established treaties with the original people of the land. Britain comes in the 1400s. So what has happened is they telling y'all about some pilgrims and all this. Pooh, that's pooh. Because what had happened is when England comes in, they came in with this business called Virginia. Also, they had another company called the Indian Company, the West Indian Company. So again, you got to understand this is a treaty that, they have to come in and they have to ask and get permission from the people of the land to be in the land. And the land to this day is in treaties in the name of the original people. This was back in the 1400s. And why? I got treaties. Go now. I told y'all, pen and paper, write it down. UNARepublic.com /DOCS. D as in David, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam. UNARepublic.com /docs. You can go there and pull down a list of treaties, and it's just the beginning. And they all come way before 1777. There are 13 of them. That's only a few of them. And in those treaties, it's the original people saying, this land belongs to us and our people, and it's going to remain in the name of our people. And we will subjugate ourselves, meaning we'll pay taxes for whatever kind of protection you can provide to us. That's what England came in to do. They came in and they told the people, we're going to give you protection and we're going to give you some jeans and some trinkets and some whatever they were giving them for the rights to be on the land. But the land always maintained or remained in the name of the original people of the land to this day. So then, y'all, if anybody knows law, and this is why I bring up this law right here, hierarchy of laws. Why do I bring this up? Because this is the order in which laws are. And so what you'll understand, this right here, this is God's law. And then you'll come down here and you'll see treaties. And then you'll see constitution. But you got to understand, that's your constitution. But you can make it like, okay, this is the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, but the treaty is higher. Always. And that treaty, those treaties were put down in the 1400s. Why am I talking about those? They are law. They are above anything the United States of America could ever create, because the original people of the land are the only ones that have the right to put this land in contract with anybody else. They're the only ones, the original people. Not somebody coming in from another territory, Moors. I don't care what your skin color is. You can't come in from another land and then try to take over control and ownership of this land and call it yours. This is now we're going to the international laws. International laws that the original people of a land, it remains their land. They can't even give it away. Even if they give it away, it's still their land. All right? So now, no, Diva, we don't know about no treaties. No, y'all don't know about no treaties, but Diva do. I just posted them. I posted them. You can go find them. UNARepublic.com/docs. Read those treaties. Don't read a synopsis of the treaty. Read the full treaty. Find the full treaty and listen to the ancestors speak, because they're going to tell you what kind of treachery was done. So now I need to get into the United States of America and who really started that. Who really created the United States of America? I need y'all to understand, first of all, what the term America means. I hope y'all taking notes. This is going to be on the test. Take notes. Do you know what America means? Ameri is a Hebrew term. It means copper colored. Ameri is a Hebrew term. It means copper colored. All right. Ameri means copper colored. Ika, I-K-A or I-C-A, means land of the indigenous people. America means land of the copper colored people. That is a Hebrew term. Well, who were your Hebrew speaking people? Those are melanated folks. I need y'all to understand that there were melanated people already in the land, and then there were a melanated people coming from another territory. Now, it could be said that, oh, well, you know, the land split, and then some of the people went that way and some of the people went that way. Okay. So you're saying we cousins, we relatives. Okay. But if grandmama had a house and her sister went her way and her kids were over there and we over here in this house, how grandmama's sister kids gonna come over here and try to take out over our house and kick us out of our own bedroom? How does that work? It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that, where you have a people who were inheriting this land, and just because you find out, oh, we cousins, so let's go over here and take this land over. That's not even lawful. So we're understanding this. There were melanated people in this land already who were known as Indians or had been deemed or termed Indian. Then you had another group of people coming from another land called Moors. Some of them were from Britain. Some of them were from Morocco, Tunis, Algiers, and all kind of other lands over in the territory that we know of as the Africa, Asia's, we know of as today, Middle East. So you had these Moors, these sellers selling into the land. And remember, this includes British. I need y'all to understand this term. And I'm going to, some of you all who have not studied, this is going to be hard to understand, but I need you to go and do some reading. At one point, that territory that we know of over there, all of that, what we know of as Africa, Asia, Middle East, that was all Asia. Really, at one point, it was all Ethiopia. Then the whole name went to Asia. And then they started dividing the territory up. At one point, the land that you know of as Africa was known as Europe. I need y'all to understand where the term Europe comes from. Queen Europa. Are y'all taking notes? Y'all taking notes? I'm giving you this history so you can go and look it up for yourself. You're not getting this from your public school education. That's why it didn't register with you, because it was BS. In your spirit, you know the truth. Now I'm telling you how you can go and find it for yourself, because I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to give you the facts so you can go and find your truth. All right? So what I want you to do is understand Europe was named after a melanated woman called Queen Europa. And the land that you know of today as Africa was Europe. The land that you know of today as Europe was Africa. And if you don't study, you're not going to know these things. The names have been changed. They switch names to confuse you regularly. Just like I'm telling you about the terms black and white. They have been switched, and you get ready to, I'm not going through it today because you all will be able to go to our site, UNARepublic on YouTube, and you can find the session that was done where we go through the SF 181 form. So you can see how till this day, how the names have been switched to black and white. The same thing happened with Africa and Europe. So now, why am I bringing that up? Because y'all have heard the term European. So y'all just quick to apply that to a light-skinned being. When the truth is, your original Europeans were melanated, dark-skinned people. Your original Europeans were the Moors. See, that's why they call them, you hear the term Indo-European and all these prefixes on it. They put the prefixes on there to say, oh, these Indo-Europeans, Albions. Now y'all done dropped the prefixes. Y'all just like, them Europeans, they came over here and then they did this stuff to the Indians. Well, guess what? The original Europeans were melanated people. They didn't tell y'all that, did they? When y'all went into your Moor camp, they didn't let you know that the original Europeans were Moors. Why they didn't tell you that? All right. So now that we're understanding who the original Europeans were, and if you know the SF 181 form, it's telling you right in there. It's telling you who they were. Okay. So we good on this. We're moving forward to the next part. Who created the United States of America? Who's responsible for that? So they want you to think our forefathers created the United States of America. BS. They want you to think they was Albions. All right. Let us be clear that there was already a government established in this land by the original people. And you can find that when you look up the Iroquois Confederacy. And that's also at that link that I gave you earlier. I told y'all, have pen and paper. Iroquois Confederacy, you can find that at that link I gave you, UNARepublic.com/docs. Well, what does the Iroquois Confederacy say? It's stating who owns this land, and it's the original people of the land saying, this is our land. They're telling you what their government is. There was already a government established here, and that is that Constitution, that Iroquois Confederacy, the United States of America Constitution is based off of the Iroquois Confederacy. You should read it. Go find the Iroquois Confederacy. Don't look up synopsis of it. It's only about, 7, 8 pages. Read it. Maybe 12 pages. I don't know. Read it. Okay? Read it. The Iroquois Confederacy. And so why is that important? Because I'm letting you know that the original people had already established the government. And then another group of melanated people come in here and they establish another government on top of that. That Iroquois Confederacy is a treaty and it still stands to this day. Okay? So now, we're getting on it now. We're getting to the good part. United States of America. Well, when did that start? Who did that? Well, again, a group of what I call elite Moors. Now, these were not Moors. They weren't necessarily associated with any one particular country. Remember, I told you about Christopher Columbus and how he wanted to escape Spain because he wanted to find a place where his people were not persecuted for their religious beliefs. Well, that's the whole thing the United States of America was founded on. You have a freedom of your religious beliefs. Today they telling you United States is a Christian country. No, it's not. The Constitution was based off the Christian belief. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was based off of, really, if you want to look at it, it was really based off of Islamic principles. But one of the things about the Constitution is you have the right to whatever religious belief you desire. That's what it was all about. So when people keep telling you, oh, it's based off of this religion, this religion, no, it wasn't. It was based off of the fact that everybody stood under God and you had a right to your religious beliefs and you were not to be persecuted because of it. That's what Christopher Columbus was coming from when he was in Spain and trying to escape from there. And he ended up landing on the outer lying territories of the United States of America, or what came to be known as the United States of America. We're on this now. Who started this? I told y'all the elite Moors. This is another group of melanated people. In that link that I sent you, you can also find, thank you all the guys for the love, I appreciate you. In that link that I told you to go to, you will also find a document that was written by the Confederacy of Indians. Thank you, Dee Dee. Appreciate the love. There's a document written by the Confederacy of Indians, and this was written in 1786. Go get the document. I'm going to tell you about it, but I want you to read it for yourself. In that document, it is the Indians talking to those who were running the United States of America. Now, remember, at this time, George Washington wasn't in office. And I need y'all to also understand something. George Washington was not the first president of the United States of America. George Washington was not the first president of the United States of America, as your public education, your public school education will have you to believe. That's the lie. Because in 1777, that's when the United States of America was incorporated. And George Washington didn't come into play until 1789. That's a whole 13 years. Now, some of y'all might be like, well, it's 13 years still. That ain't. Yeah, that's, if you incorporate anything, any business people in the house, if you've ever incorporated anything, you know full well that when you incorporate, you better have a president, a vice president, a secretary, a chair, a co-chair, and all the other people established to make your organization a legal entity. All right? If you don't have that established, then you don't have a true legal entity. So, in order to say that the United States of America was incorporated in 1777, then you better have a president. They had several presidents, at least 6, most of which were melanated people. melanated, but they don't want you to know about them because then it doesn't fit the narrative about all black, so-called black people or melanated people coming over here as slaves. It doesn't fit the narrative when you say that, wait a minute, we had melanated presidents before George Washington. Well, how was we all slaves? Why they let us be slaves if they was running the country? Because the narrative they told you wasn't true. That's why it didn't marinate with you when you were in school. It didn't marinate because it wasn't true. So now we get into it now. We get into the good part. There was melanated people running this country. And I told you, elite Moors. They didn't just come from Morocco. They didn't want to be associated with any of those other territories for the simple fact that they didn't like the governmental system. That's why the original 13th Amendment, look it up, go into Google and type in original 13th Amendment. It was, there are to be no royalty, no royal blood. You cannot be a president of the United States of America if you're a duchess or you're a queen or a king or a cousin of a king or queen or anything like that. You come from any kind of royalty, you can't be president. And the reason why is because, again, they know how these people operate. We talking about England and all that. That's how they operate, where they get their clutches into a governmental system and then they just have all their family members running it. Well, those who created the United States of America, those Moors, knew this and they didn't want that. That's why they put that original 13th Amendment in there that was written out by none other than George Washington. George Washington. When he came in 1789, I'm going to tell y'all something. I hope y'all are taking notes and I hope you're recording this because I'm having all kind of technical difficulties. Somebody don't want this information to get out. Make sure you write it down. Make sure you take notes. All right. So we got this situation where George Washington has come in now. And he has changed the Constitution. He's changed things in it. And I want to go over this whole letter because I got all these Moors out here. Now, David. Because George Washington came in and then, the Moors, because they'll tell you that, the Moors was running stuff. That's right. Yeah, but the Moors was also running roughshod over the original people of this land who were also melanated people. They were running roughshod over them. They were mistreating them. So I need y'all to understand something. What's not being told in history is that there's a whole bunch of melanated people. There was different melanated groups in this land fighting against each other. And Albion just came in and took over the spoils of the war. They can't stand strong when everybody's fighting against each other. This is how it still is now. Y'all want to stand, but you don't understand that there are different groups of melanated people in here. And everybody's fighting against each other. And now this is just a spiritual battle now. This has always been a spiritual battle. But this is a spiritual battle. It's who are you aligned with spiritually? Where are you spiritually? And I need y'all to understand. I'm getting into it. Stay tuned. Because I'm going into it today. I got time. So now, we got these different groups of melanated people. We got these people who were known as Indians. They really look like melanated, woolly-haired people like this. This is what they look like. They don't look like the long-haired, stringy-haired people that they call Indians today. Because what has happened is that the original people of the land were threatened into not claiming who they are. And so when one generation stops doing it and then they don't teach the next generation, and then the next generation is ignorant and clueless about who they even are. Because the original generation stopped even talking about who they were. Okay. So you got this other group of melanated people who come in the land, and you're going to find some decrees where they say, first of all, they were calling the original people their brothers. And I told you about that document that you can go and pull down and see the notice coming from that Indian tribe, they call themselves the Republic, the Indian Republic. And what happened is they were telling those who were running the United States of America, they were saying, hey, and notice I'm saying United States of America, the full title, because we're going to get into there's another United States and it has nothing to do with America. We're going to get into that. But you got these Indians that are talking to those Moors who are running the United States of America, and they saying, hey, brother, you know, y'all having this war between Britain, because remember the Declaration of Independence? This was when the Moors, they had decided, we don't want Britain in here anymore. We're going to create contracts to get rid of Britain. Pay attention now. I'm saying this stuff so you can go and take notes. All right. So when Britain comes into this, I just want to make sure I give you all the history so you can go and look it up for yourself. So what happens now is you got the Moors, what we call them elite Moors, all right, because they had knowledge of law, they had knowledge of science, they had knowledge of the history, they had esoteric knowledge of how this thing works on a spiritual level. So these elite Moors, they come in and they started establishing another government outside of Britain, and all of these governments are still running together on top of each other today. And you got to understand the difference between them. Counties were established by Moors, supposedly, according to my research. Counties mean to count. They're counting, you know, you said you own this land, you said you own that land. The county's purpose and responsibility was to keep records of what everybody owned. So this is why you, till this day, when we're dealing with land, you go to the county. That is the highest authorizing agency on the private side. All right? Counties. They count the things that are owned by the people. That's come according to my research from the Moors. All right? And then you got state. There's two states. There's the Republic, which is Georgia Republic, Texas Republic, California Republic. And then you have the state of whatever. That belongs to Britain. So y'all got to understand there's a public side and then there's a private side. And if you don't know which is which, you don't understand who you're doing business with. So there's a public side and then there's the private side. The public side, once again, anything state of anything belongs to Britain or the United States Corporation. Okay, I'm getting deep. All right, so now we're understanding that there's two sides of the state and then there's the county. And so then there's also a federal, and that deals with the money. I'm not going into that today, but I need y'all to understand all three. There are four different entities at least. Really, it's more than four, but the main ones, county, state, city, and federal. And these are all different governments running in conjunction with each other, and they have different roles. Okay, so now we're understanding that. These counties were started by the Moors, and then they established that they did not want Britain in the territory. Why? This is why y'all need to read the Declaration of Independence. Go read it. Read it. It's telling you who these people were. And they're saying to Britain, this is why this whole war started, the Revolutionary War. And this was, again, before 1789, where the Moors had decided, look here, Britain, you don't have jurisdiction in this territory anymore. And so they established a declaration, which is a treaty. They established a constitution for the United States of America. Constitution, and note I said the word for the United States of America. And you can go and read that they established something with Morocco. whereby Morocco vouched for the United States of America, but it was never owned by Morocco. And when I say Morocco, I'm talking about the state of Morocco. I'm not talking about, because they're different. That's a totally different Morocco now. That's a different Morocco. But this Morocco had pull. It still had muscle, and the United States of America used them for backing. But little did they know, Morocco was in bed with Britain. They didn't know that. This is why Morocco would never tread on the territory of the United States of America until Britain got their butts kicked, and the Moors, these elite Moors, had kicked Britain out. So this is a hostile takeover, because Britain was making money off of these states. Remember, these states are businesses. State of Tennessee, state of North Carolina, South Carolina, state of, anything state of belongs to Britain, and it is nothing more than a business. And when you're paying taxes to it, those taxes are going straight to Britain. So here you got these elite Moors and they're telling Britain that they can no longer make money off of all of these businesses that they set up. Well, we're going to go to war. We're going to go to war because Britain is not going to just sit idly by and let you mess up their money. And so this is why there was the Revolutionary War. All right. So here you got this Revolutionary War, and you got the Indians, though. The Indians are like, well, what we doing? Because it's our land, and you got these Moroccans, and then you got these elite Moors. And so they're talking to the people who had created the United States of America, and they're saying to them, listen, y'all been at war for 3 years. And, when we came to you all, or you came to us, and you just said to us to, just sit back and we'll handle everything. So we just sat back, we went to the King of England and we tried to talk to them, and they just said, sit back and let us handle it. And so y'all been fighting, and it's been 3 years, and now it looks like y'all have made up. It looks like you all have made up, and y'all still mistreating us. Now, we have been trying to have a meeting with y'all. This is the Indian Council talking to those who were running the United States of America. And this is before George Washington. Find the document at that link I sent you to. And they're saying, listen, y'all have been it was 3 years, and now y'all seem to be good with each other, but y'all are mistreating us. Y'all keep killing our people. Y'all keep treading on territory that we didn't give you permission to tread on. Y'all keep ignoring us. And we've asked you for peace. But you won't even have a conversation with us about it. You told us to be quiet. We were quiet. And now, y'all all good. And you treading on all our territory. You're killing up all our people. You're disrespecting everything that we've given you authorization to have here. And we just want some answers. Who was doing that? So-called elite Moors. Because they were the ones who were running the United States. Because let's remember, the first presidents of the United States of America were melanated people. Moors. All right. Y'all go look that up. So, now we're at this point now where the United States of America is in play. But then in 1789, George Washington comes into the game. And George Washington now has established a new constitution that is different from what was set up by these elite Moors. And in this constitution, he changed some things, one of which was the 13th Amendment I told you all about. And why was that so important? Because George Washington, as I said, was not qualified to be president because he was a direct descendant of the Queen of England. Why is that important? Because in that 13th Amendment, it said no royal blood can be president of the United States. And he removed that 13th Amendment. Okay, but not only that, I need y'all to understand, George Washington, they want you to think he was an Albion. He was not. Again, remember I told you the Queen of England was melanated all the way up to the mid-1800s. George Washington came in 1789. He was direct descendant of the Queen of England. This is another melanated person. He might have been amalgamated, meaning he mixed with a whole bunch of light-skinned people, but he was a melanated being. As a matter of fact, Abraham Lincoln was melanated. Abraham Lincoln was related to George Washington. Everybody between George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, they melanated. They melanated. They want you to think they Albions. Go back and look up why they kept picking on Abraham Lincoln so much, because he was so dark-skinned. They kept picking on him. All these people in here. Abraham Lincoln, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 16, Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, they related. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go one further. George Washington is related to all of the presidents up to Barack Obama by blood. I ain't going into Barack Obama's story, but I need you to understand. They all related by blood. So I need y'all to understand, England has been running this game since George Washington. That's why your books want you to believe that George Washington was the first president, when he was not. Because if you knew that there were several presidents before George Washington that were melanated, then it would destroy the narrative that all these black people came in here as slaves. Well, how is that when the people who actually created the United States of America were melanated themselves? Okay, let's get on this now. How we're talking about this and how North America is not Morocco. Is not Morocco. And if you have any comments or disagreements, go ahead and say it. Say it. Let's talk about it. And if you don't like it, you can bite these nuts. These nuts, Deeply Reed's nuts, are natural, salted, brown, roasted nuts. Find a link in the Bible.